You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing might of, wait for it, KNUCKLE! Welcome, my friends, to a show that seemingly apparently never ends. Round number 292. I'm the host with the most, Eugene S. Robinson, the paranoid Negro at your party. No, they're looking over here. I can tell you, they're looking over here. Why are they looking over here? This show, UFC, WME, and the realignment, as well as the realignment of MMA journalism, as well as realignment of your expectations, your needs, and desires. Everything and anything. But first, the words that say it all. Stigmata, calling it a just. Intro, all of nothing, Bob Riley sings it. I'm on my way back to nowhere. I took my time, but I could not see too clear. I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face. Or being paid back in full, always nothing. All right, my friends, enough of that. Welcome to 292. I am your host with the most, Eugene S. Robinson. I'm going to kill you, Eugene S. Robinson. I'm going to kill you. I used to get calls like that. To drag, man. I had to call Interpol to stop this lunatic from calling me, leaving me 37-minute phone. And then I had to call her son and say, I'm going to kill your mother. Try making a call like that on a Tuesday. Not the funnest thing in the world. But at the point where she's threatening the life of your children, you got to do something. You say, well, Eugene, you must have done something to deserve it. Yeah, I was nice. Hey, my mother wants to email you about a few things. Do you mind? I go, no, sure. Go ahead. Have her email me. His mother believed I was an angel sent to earth. Well, you know, there are lots of angels sent on earth. Not all of them are good. In any case, that stopped. But Eugene, she used to say, I'm going to kill you, Eugene Robinson. I'm going to kill you. Anyway, Eugene Robinson has not been killed. And he's here on the show, 292. I'm your host. What's going on, Eugene? What's new? I don't know. What's new with you guys? Anything? Anything new with you? Oh, you mean my eye patch. Even blind people get affected by the patch eyes glitter. Look at that. Look at that. What is that? Oh, maybe this piece of paper will explain it. First place, baby. First place. U.S. Open. So some of you had requested that I bring the medal on the show. I'm going to be wearing this all day tomorrow and all the rest of the week, because if you have one of these, you know what it means. And if you don't have one and take umbrage at me having one, you know what I found out? I found out after I submitted the guy that on my way to first place, the first thing I did was jump up upright, find Sorrell in the audience, and go like this, Gaging! And then he returned the salute by going, Gababoosh! And of course, I didn't discover till later that I could have been disqualified for that. Because, yeah, I did it away from my opponent, but, you know, I could have been doing it at my opponent's team. It's not very sportsmanlike to do that. So I narrowly missed getting DQ. And, you know, of course, my response to being DQ, which would have been DQ, fuck you. And this was in the unlimited weight category. So, yeah, I think it's with me for the rest of the show since it's pinned in my hair. No, I think I can get it out. DQ, fuck you. So it would have gone from bad to worse. But it's the first time I scored significant medal in the U.S. Open. I usually get, you know, get some horrible finish out of the money. So this was really nice. And what I like about it more, and this is why guys like me, I like the fact that it makes some people extremely unhappy. What is that? A friend of mine once said it. I call him a friend of mine. He said, something about you, Eugene, that I can't help it makes me want to see you fail. I found that to be personally chilling because I would never say that about a friend. I'm a ride or die type friend. If you're my friend, I'm behind you 100% because I know good shit happens to you, it's gonna happen to me. I understand the East Coast thing of patronage. Good shit happens to you, good shit will happen to me. If I'm in a position to make good stuff happen to you, I know you'll be in a position to make good stuff because that's the way the system fucking works. But I find increasingly on the West Coast, many people don't understand that. They don't understand the quid pro quo system. And their lack of understanding of it puts them in a position where the exact opposite thing happens. There's a category of people who I will actively go out of my way to fuck them over for the rest of my life. They might be thinking it's over, but 40 years from now, if I get an opportunity to fuck them over, I'm gonna fuck them over. Call it counter patronage, anti-patronage. It's the difference between a cock assist and a cock block forever and ever. Until karma is leveled, that's what's gonna happen. Speaking of which, the UFC, WME, we talked about it on last week's show. And between last week's show, you know, you guys are texting me like crazy. I'm gonna go to the mailbag. Let's see. I'm gonna go to the mailbag right now. Just start out right away. And I don't know that dudes want their I don't know that they want their names, but this is from D-Man. I just gonna call that because he may not want it. He's doesn't want to be on blast here. He'll let me know though. Because I've been thinking about WME Zuffa. It seems the big difference is that WME approaches everything they do as an opportunity to make money, and they prepare as such. Whereas Zuffa seemed to view the Ultimate Fighter, their schedule, and other things they did as more obligations and a part of something bigger. Clearly, there were events that they just didn't give a shit about, and it's obvious the Ultimate Fighter hasn't mattered to them in years. WME is cognizant of the value of the brand and looks at these vehicles as opportunities that should be maximized. Fundamental different, but I'm not going to put this off on the UFC. I'm not going to look at that. I'm like 3 minutes in and I'm already at the topic. Can I sideline on something else? Some outre sex story? No, I'm going to lead right in with this because I think it's important and I got a lot of stuff. So, so it could be, you'll have to examine. Let's look at the nature of corporate existence in America. Now, we just had something big happen. If you're in the media world, AT&T, a freaking phone company, just spent like $83 billion to buy Warner Time Media, right? I mean, this is huge, huge. Take back the night, Robinson. I own Huge. I used to be called Huge. I'm taking it back from the Donald. Sorry. So this is. Do you think the people at Time Warner ever had in their plans this idea that they were going to be gobbled up by somebody like AT&T? No. Okay, switch tracks. Did you ever see that the UFC was going to be imagine that what they were doing was prepare. At any point, do you feel like the UFC was preparing itself for sale? Well, that's a super bad way to put the question. Let me say, when they bought it, back when cardio kickboxing instructor, the bald one, talked to one of his clients in the station casino owner, Lorenzo and Frank, hey, you should look at this. Maybe we should buy this. He got the we in there. Like Sorrell has told me before, we and rich don't go together. But he said, you know, do you think we should buy it? And they bought it. The expectation was, you know, let's see what it does. This I know for a matter of fact. Let's see what it does, and we'll have some fun in the process. Early on, before Bonner and Forrest Griffin, before Bonner and Griffin, the Ultimate Fighter TV show, there was serious talk afoot to sell the UFC. The thing is, nobody invests $1 million to make $1 million. That's a worthless sausage bet. If I give you a sausage, if I lend you a sausage and you return a sausage to me, there's no point to that. I had a sausage before I saw you. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about with sausage and plates, gonna have to go back to another show. I had 8 sausages before I saw you. I gave you a sausage. I went without sausages for a period of time, and now you have returned 1 sausage to me several years later. What the fuck is that about? It's not a charity. Which is something that my old lady told me about my penis. It's not a charity. You know, you go to the Red Cross when you need things, and Goodwill when you need things. Stop going to Eugene's penis if you need things. Eugene's penis will not save you. That's good advice. My penis was not likely to save you under any circumstance. No matter how hard he tried. So it was like for the rest of us, every time in the early days that I heard the rumor, and they were fairly serious rumors that Fertitas were going to sell, it was all allied with the plates and the sausages deal. It's like, if I can get a sausage from running a casino, and I've given a sausage to run it, yeah, I like the fights as much as anybody else, but you got to have a revenue plan. And it happened at a significant point. It happened at about the 5-year mark. Nobody but anybody is investing in anything and hoping to not see that money in 5 years. You yourself don't do that. I'm upending things, right? Bought a new house, decided to fix the house up. Most people don't do that. They buy a house, they tinker, and then when they get ready to sell a house, they have, oh my God, I got to sell this house. I got to get as much money as possible. They fix it up. The hell is that about? The hell is that about? I want to enjoy something nice. So at the 5-year mark, the talk got pretty heated, but you know, you had investors. Now you have Schedule A, Schedule B, Schedule C. If Alexi Ald were here, he could help me out with these. These are your first, your second, your third round of financing. This is a very touchy thing. I don't remember when Sheikh Tanoon came in and bought 10% of the UFC, but this is a very touchy thing. If you have too many rounds of financing, it's a bad sign. If you don't have enough rounds of financing, it's a bad sign. So it's like in a Goldilocks scenario, you have to have not only the right numbers of levels of schedules of financing, but you also have to have the right partners, and you have to have the right amounts of money. Too much money, people suspect vaporware. Too little money, nobody gives a shit. So you gotta, so these are all delicate calculuses. Now, at the point where you start to see Stanley Tucci at the fights, where you start to see the fat guy Paul Blart at the fights, where you start to see the singer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the fights, I'm okay. When you start to see Cindy Crawford And who is the woman who I use? Holly, that Southern actress, Holly, who I really used to like. I can't remember her last name now. You know, and then you start when Demi Lovato, well, that's relatively new. Let's not get onto that. You know, it was a thing to do. For a second, I had the Schechter agency. Irv Schechter in Los Angeles was going to represent me. And his daughter was going to be an up-and-coming agent, was going to be my agent. She's her man, she had gone to a fight, and she was horrified. I ended up splattered with blood. She ran out crying. She couldn't take it. Nor could she take being my Mira. Was it Mira Schechter? I don't remember her name. Nor could she take being my agent. And I should have seen the writing on the wall. If she couldn't hang, you know, cage side. So Ari Emanuel, these guys they were thinking about it. They were thinking about, and it wasn't until you had some bona fide personalities. Now Randy, but in the Randy I'm speaking of Couture, was one of the first breakout guys. And Randy had Chuck Norris levels of charisma, which is to say, not very high. But he was affable. He had that Captain America thing going despite the 18,000 marriages. And he was self-effacing, easygoing, had, you know, according to the bald one, nobody who's ever done business with him likes the guy. But whatever, I don't know. He's always nice to me. Much like Hitler. Actually, Hitler was never nice to me. He and I never met. But that thing I did for Ozzy, My Night with a Nazi, that guy, I think, hated me, but he liked to hate me. Like, he would be happy to see me there, and he hated me. Like, just like I was happy to see him, and I hated him. My Night with a Nazi, go to Ozzy.com to read it. I'm still taking a lot of heat for it. And I love going in the comments. And, you know, some guy accidentally wrote me and thinking I was Eugene H. Robinson from the Washington Post, say Eugene S. Robinson. And he goes, your story today about Trump was full of the bias, you know, the kind of bias that I expect from him. I hope you would do better in the future, sir. He was writing Eugene H., but he got Eugene S. So I wrote back to him, thank you for writing. Now please go fuck yourself as thoroughly as possible, you fucking dirty piece of shit. Sincerely, Eugene Robinson. And the guy flipped out, you know. I mean, it's like if you wrote a letter to some corporate head and that was a response you got. And then finally, 4 or 5, I'm asking him to blow me and to juggle my nuts in his mouth. I mean, it was so, at what point, you know, it was like a game of what would it take? At a certain point, clearly it was clear to him that maybe it wasn't the same Eugene Robinson. But now he's angry, you know? So what's he going to argue with a lunatic? Nah. I got better things to do. That's him, not me. I was highly enjoying it. So you get these people and they say serious growth potential. Much like Goldman Sachs, their business is to generate business. So they start saying, well, what are your plans? What are your plans? This is the killer question. They have this great thing with real estate now. It's called Make Me Move. And I love it. It's like indecent proposal. Most people who are not, you know, expecting to sell their houses, Make Me Move operates on the premise that the price is not right. I'll give you a Make Me Move price. If somebody walked up the walk to my house right now and said, hey, you know what? Here's $6 million. I want it. I take it. I think me and the old lady would have a very short discussion. Hey, baby, do you think we should take $6 million? Yes. Where are we going to go? Anywhere. So these discussions are constantly happening, and they're happening against a tableau of schedule. I mean, they weren't. Zuffa was not a normal corporation. It's an event-based corporation. It's a entertainment media company. So you're looking at the future prospect of returns on investment, as well as, you know, the likelihood, the viability of what it is that you've created. I mean, people were laughing at me. You know, yeah, I won yesterday and I trained today. People were laughing at me today at training because of my famous pronouncements. Let's tick them off. I told the Beastie Boys Yes, I know, whatever, man. At least I was there. I told the Beastie Boys when they called me to tell me that they were kicking out their drummer, girl Kate Schellenbach used to drum for them, and they were going to become a hip hop band in like 1982, 83. I laughed in their faces and told them, "You'll never make it." Well, that didn't end up being so much the case. Not only did I say the Butthole Surfers, we went through Texas, we stayed at their house. They were an up and coming band at that time. They gave us a copy of the demo tape. We're listening to it on the way over. I go, fuck, man, this is great. But with a name like that, they'll never make it. They all have ranches in Texas and hang out with celebrities and don't work normal day jobs. My definition of success. Suicidal tendencies. I saw that band once. They suck so bad live. I talked to my friend Wes Robinson, God rest his soul. He's like, man, those guys are going to be huge. I go, are you out of your mind? They will never make it. And the big kahuna, the internet. The internet is not going anywhere. You have to understand the context. I used to work in the defense industry back in the 80s. I knew about the internet before a lot of normal people knew about the internet. And DARPA had invented it. And I was like, my mother always wanted to force me as a kid to have pen pals in other places. I didn't give a fuck about other places. I don't want to have you could have a pen pal in Kenya or Japan. Like a fuck do I give a, today I went to a store and I don't gotta give a shit about that. So early on, that was the deal. The internet was like, I could send a letter to somebody in Burkina Faso. So what? It's like, there were ham radios too. I saw that flash in the pan. I saw CB radios come and go. Why would the internet stay? So keep in mind, I got a perfect record. The question is, Eugene, have you ever said somebody's going to be huge and they subsequently were huge? Anyway, the point was that these discussions are going on constantly up to Time Warner being sold. Nobody ever sold, but everybody has got that make me move price. So I'm thinking at a certain point, discussions, guys with sausages on their plates have discussions with each other. And those discussions are very much along the lines of, how do you see your future shaping up? Frank Fertitta buys a $38 million beach house in Malibu. I don't think there needs to be much thinking after that, really. Do you? The casinos run themselves. The thing runs itself. What do? Me? I learned how to paint, how to play saxophone, and read a lot of books I haven't had time to read. Travel. Harass my old lady. I don't know what he does. I hope it's at least two of those things that doesn't involve harassing my old lady. So nobody's sitting around thinking, I'm going to do what I do forever. Not a single fighter, and certainly not the people who own the organization. That's why Michael Corleone saw it best. That's why everything will eventually fall to corporations, collections of individuals who can come and go, but the mainstay stays the same. So UFC is now bought by WME, and now WME, the new boss is in town. And like the text I read for those of you who weren't here, I'll just sum. He goes, WME is cognizant of the value of the brand and looks at these vehicles as opportunities that should be maximized. You know what that means? That means you're going to see fewer fights. Let's look at sports where you have lots of games. Hockey, baseball. Fucking hey, man. He's like all the way across the room. Jesus Christ. It's fucking Popeye. Oblivious. He's happy. So what is the most successful sport in America? Also, the most dangerous sport in America, football. Got a really narrowly defined season. Yeah, they padded it out with preseason games, combines, drafts, so that you could pretty much, yeah, I mean, maybe what do you have? Like 8 months of football-related material? I mean, ultimately, if you could make your whole payroll in one game, people would do that, but you can't. You need to build brand interest, brand love, brand joy, and this is what you end up with. I don't know where the sweet spot is, but like the guy said in this text, UFC didn't really seem to be particularly interested. Maybe very possibly because they were just trying to answer that question put to them by corporations who suddenly became interested. Where do you see yourself? $38 million dream house in Malibu? Where else? Your kids' college paid for? What? You and the wife? Where else? What else? What happens when you cross that point where you can buy that like with couch change? What happens to your head? What happens to your perception of time? Now, at a certain point, everything. I mean, this is why there will be one single corporation in the future, Ultra Mega Corp. We build things, make things, do things. That's it. And like I said before, it seems ominous and people are worried. Everybody, Mr. Helwani is on his show talking about, oh my God, my friends. You're fucking friends. Don't you understand what happens? You know, they have a great word for this in the UK. It's called redundancies. Corporations acquire each other. If we have a marketing guy and you have a marketing guy, we're only keeping one marketing guy. So somebody's got to go. So they're like, oh, well, this top flight talent, Dave Show. Top flight talent. This was talent that guys who had never built anything had hired. This is talent that now people who have built several things are now firing. I'm not saying it's good, but it's good for the corporation. The question is what's good for the corporation good for our sport? And I'm going to, until the jury's out, till I see something otherwise, I'm going to have to say yes. And if you don't see the WME's hand on some of this, then you are nuts. If you don't think the fact that GSP is repped by CAA and his troubles have become very public, you don't think that has something to do with it, you are exactly 100% wrong. Wrong. Who was that guy who just died, who just had that talk show where he would scream that kind of conservative cat, which I think Trump has stolen that as well. So I mean, first of all, the skein, pain, that's what Greg said. Skein rhymes with pain. GSP is done. He is done. I don't know if I said that if I did it last week, but he's really done. Oh, I'm a free agent. Really? You know, this show, 292, I could have spent my time talking about Bellator 162, Shlemenko versus Grove, but I didn't. You know why? Because it was Shlemenko versus Grove. Sorry. Mike Hogan is a friend of Knuckle Up, but come on. Come on. I'm not being paid to do, well, actually I am, but you know what I mean. Frank Tate, Mike Wessel, don't care. Chad Cook, Grady Hurley, don't care. Omar Johnson, Jaleel Willis, don't care. Eric Anders, Brian White, don't care. Jonathan Burden, James Wallace, don't care. Tyler Hill, Wade Johnson, don't care. Dion Charles, Virgil Zwicker, don't care. Arlene Blackout, Julie Budd, care. And Julie Budd won. Bobby Branch, Chase Gormley, don't care. Steve Garcia, Ronnie Lawrence, don't care. Rick Rainey, Gilbert Smith, don't care. Ryan Couture versus Goito Yamaguchi. Well, I care. What, a whole nation doesn't want to hurt this guy's feeling because of his dad? He's got to stop. He's got to stop. The name is not going to. You know who has the right idea? Baby Slice. book a fight, cancel a fight. Keep your name in the press, cash a check. Don't be fighting and losing. Sako Kato, AJ Matthews, don't care. Bobby Lashley, Josh Appelt. Come on, man. I mean, do you see Bob? I know how Scott Coker, friend of Knuckle Up, I know how his mind works. I didn't even have to watch this fight because I knew Bobby Lashley would not be losing the fight. The only fight that had any kind of possible, question marks over was Shlemenko and Grove. And Grove, the thing that got him kicked from the UFC is a thing that permanently put him in he's a gikta. A gikta. I would never have picked him if you had run in here with a gun. So GSP, his options are what? Oh, I got plenty of places to go. Go there. But as of now, you are still under contract. You don't understand what's happening. There's something happening here, and what it is ain't exactly clear. I'm going to squeeze you like a dirty fucking dish rag. I'm going to tie you up in court, and 2 or 3 years down, when your career is dust, maybe I'll let you out. Or maybe you'll stick around and fight. Or maybe you'll stick around and fight under the conditions that I established. But you got to understand that the ball I'm asking you to play when I ask you to play ball is a ball it's like Milo Minderbender at Catch 22. What's good for Milo Minderbender is good for America. What's good for you in this instance is there's only one man who understands it. I'm sorry to be all over his nuts right now. But I really think that everybody, you just need to take a deep breath, count to 10, and look at Mystic Mac before you do anything. And now they've effectively talked Jose Aldo down. They've effectively talked Anderson Silva down. There was not going to be any fucking mutiny. It's like the last scene in Devil's Advocate where he's like, man, this guy's a do-gooder. What? Vanity. Vanity. Because presuming the sport's not going to go away, you got sport and it's sport ancillaries forever. You got all the shit that you think, well, man, I'm sponsored by Under Armour, GSP is dealing with, and they're Reebok, and I'm losing money. This shit's nickels compared to Ford F-150 pickup trucks. Rollins just did a billboard for fucking Calvin Klein. How much do you think they paid him for that? And people in the punk rock community are going nuts. Going nuts for what? I haven't thought about that guy in at least 6 months. He's lost his mind. But in this thing, he's very smart. You got to eat. Got to eat. People like they asked me in Japan, Eugene, Oxbow wouldn't sell out, would they? What? What? Somebody shows up with a check. I'm saying yes. I mean, who's going to ask me to sell out realistically? You think they're going to advertise orange juice using Oxbow songs? Orange juice! Who the fuck is going to do this? Charles Schwab. Yeah, fuck it. I mean, this is a gross oversimplification of Oxbow lyrical output, but you know what I mean. GSP, they're dealing with the old boss, and it's hard to get confused because it's the same bald one there. But you gotta wake up and smell the coffee. We're talking movies. We're talking, ask Tyrone Woodley how much money he got from he was probably hired as an actor, even though it's how you can tell cheap movies, because only a few people talk. They can technically try to make people who do not talk on a movie set, technically try to make them extras. Now, when you see me in Leonard Part 6, I talk, but I'm not on screen when I talk, but it doesn't matter. The fact that I talk means that I got paid union scale for acting, was not an extra. $2,000 a week. I wish I could show you the check that I just got on Friday from Columbia Pictures for Leonard Part 6. But I put that 25-cent check in the bank so fast it makes your head spin because I got it. October is an unforgiving month. I got 8 days, and I got like about $187 to last 8 days. Try that on for size. Tank of gas is whatever, $40. Eat. Let's not think about it because I'm going to get upset. So GSP, he's got all this. Oh, he's got a top fucking lawyer. You know what that means? That means that you need to have your wallet crazy glued to your pants pocket, man, because he knows what he's not telling you, and that's that. The objective here is to get the object. We are trying to help you. Help us help you. Somebody like GSP is only fucking himself up. He is only fucking himself up. You know, if there's somebody who should be a little bit cautious, it's maybe a Rafael Dos Anjos. It's maybe a Donald Cerrone. Guys who were there, but like not really there, you know. Anderson Silva, you know, what you think so? Jose Aldo, you think somebody's going to break and start a fighters union? Yes, I'm hearing the talk about it. Hey, look, these parasites exist on the nuts of every large corporation. And believe me, I'm not anti-union. I'm a union guy myself. Look for the union labor. Screen Actors Guild, one of the most toothless unions around. So what they're doing, they're minimizing the number of events, which will have maybe the very possibly the intent of being to increase the value of said events. The Ultimate Fighter TV show, which Zuffa hasn't been interested in for a very long time. And of course, I mean, what lasts 15 seasons? Even I never saw The Simpsons lasting as long as they did. The Simpsons lasted as long as they did just to spite me. One of my least favorite interviews was Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons. I love that guy, but he was a complete prick to me. Not that it matters. So we're going to minimize the number of fights. They're going to move the base of operations out of Las Vegas into Los Angeles, and you're going to see some more firings or more. You know, there's some guys who had enough money. Could somebody check to see if I could do it? But I'm keeping the computer from falling onto the floor. I think WME is publicly traded. Is it privately held? Somebody text me; it'll pop up on the screen. Or you know, if you send it to me on Twitter, it'll pop up on the screen, and I can tell you. I don't know if WME is traded, but if I'm a Joe Silver and I got stock in the company, I leave. If I'm Dave Scholler, maybe I don't have so much stock in the company, I get booted. But that hasn't stopped. And it's not a sign of, oh my God, dangerous, dangerous, bad, danger, danger, red rum, red rum. That's not what's happening. Not what's happening at all. You got some of the sharpest, smartest, deadliest sharks in the fucking water in these corporations, and they are going to squeeze every single fucking drop of goodness out is for the greater good of the corporation, stockholders, and of course the industries that they serve, which are fundamentally media entertainment companies. It's going to be a party for everyone. They didn't buy it to make it worse. They fully intend to make it better. It's like, you know, when I'm sitting around thinking about media, I'm thinking, ah, man, those idiots. I even think that about Ozzy. I got a piece up on Ozzy right now. If you go to Ozzy.com, or you know, if you're connected to me through Twitter, you can see it on Twitter, or you can. It's a piece inspired by Kid Nate, and they decided to they named it A Pretty Perfect Name for a Killer. It's about this murderer mafia guy called Pretty. His name was Pretty Amberg. You know how hard I had to fight to get that in there? Pretty significantly hard. You know, and they you know, I mean, again, Ozzy is very different. 8 stories a day. That's it. 8 stories a day. So the competition to beat one of those stories is fierce. Nobody gets a bye. Got to fight to get your way in. You know. And I'm just not gonna. I'm not so wedded to the whole. You know what I mean. I so wedded to this goody two shoes stuff. I like my stuff with a grit, so I provide the grit. That's okay. I own the grit franchise at Ozzy.com. But they are going to maximize. Their desire. Their desire is to create whole-bodied diversions, 360-degree diversions for like-minded people. Mira Schechter will never be a UFC fan. WME will never be able to sell anything to her, but they might be able to sell Conor McGregor as a new action hero. Maybe. I mean, this is what Conor McGee is talking about. This is what Mystic Mac is fundamentally talking about. You know, it's like a bunch of people on a ship, on a lifeboat, squabbling over fucking sea biscuits. But Mystic Mac is standing in the prow, looking up. Wait, hey, you guys look. Hey, you guys look. Hey, you guys look. There's a cruiser. Hey, okay. Hey, you guys want to get on the cruise? And then he's on the cruiser, and everybody's on the lifeboat with the tins of sea biscuits. It's like when I was out with those friends of mine. It was a triple date, double blind date. Me, Jake Action, John Norman, and 3 girls from Mills College. John Norman and I didn't know any of the girls. Jake knew all the girls. I told the story before. John thought it made sense that night with a pocket full of crystal meth to break into a police paddy wagon and steal mag lights and hats. They were fingered by some cholos on Broadway in San Francisco, and the cholos are running down the street, pointing to the cops. There they are. And I'm like, I let my friends pull ahead. So the girls are walking in front, 2 guys are behind, and Eugene is, girls are here, 2 guys are here, and Eugene is back here. And I'm like, Jake, John, John and Jake, Jake and John, Jake and Jake. And they don't listen to me because they're focused on the 3 girls. And they walk up to 3 girls, and I just drop back. You know? Oh, some of us here use ham radio and don't think it's old technology. Don't start with me. No, I don't think. I know you, maybe there's still some ham guys out there, but you understand what I'm saying. Ham radio and the internet, I thought were going to be like the same thing. I didn't think the internet would be as ubiquitous as it is. I got it wrong. I admit it. So anyway, I dropped back, and the cop cars are driving. It's like the French Connection or Bullet. They're driving down the wrong way street, and as Jake and John get to the girls on the corner, the cop car pops up on the sidewalk. Cops jump out, and they hand out a cop beating to end all beating. And the cholos are buzzing, hey, you missed one, man. And they're pointing to me, and I look at them, and I go like this. What the fuck are you doing? I'm getting out of this beating. What? And then they kind of realize, right, okay. Let him go. It's like, come on. What, are you working for the cops now? I'm just standing here. You know, so they haul him off to jail, and I walk up. And I had a mohawk then, so the cops missed me, but I didn't break into the police truck. The guys couldn't hear me. Mystic Mac is in a very similar position. He's getting on. I'm getting on that luxury fucking cruiser, and you can get on with me. Who do you think that Nate Diaz loves more in the UFC? I'm sure he's got friends in the UFC, but nobody has been as significant to him in the UFC as Mystic Mac. Why? Because he's the man for the time. He understands exactly what's happening. You know how he understands it? Because he's seen it happen. From the stage at Jimmy Kimmel, from the stage at Jimmy Fallon. He's seen it Entertainment Tonight. He's seen it ESPN. He's seen it at Rolling Stone. He's at Esquire. He's seen it. He's seen it at people showing up with scripts for him to read. He's seen it at when he looks out in his garage and sees those Rolls Royces. He sees something that Ronda hasn't seen. And they're like, yeah, of course Ronda's going to fight Cyborg. You know why? Because Ari Emanuel said, what are you, crazy? What are you saving her for what? Saving her for what? The idea is to develop brand joy. What are you waiting for? Her to drop to 125 and fight Joanna Jędrzejczyk? That's not going to happen. Oh yeah, my shirt. And if you think this guy has gone away, you know, I'm suspecting that Ari has had him in his office very directly and said, like Joe Ciccarelli said to us producing the Oxbow record, The Thin Black Duke, right around the time he started throwing his phone across the room and screaming at Nico Wenner, Oxbow guitar player. I can make this record as bad as you want me to make it, or you can just let me do my job. Imagine Johnny Boney Joni is getting a speech very similar to that fucking speech right now. Let me explain to you where we are. Let me fundamentally explain to you exactly where we are. You know, this could be, you think we paid $4.2 billion because we didn't have anything better to do with the money? Have you ever seen people kept saying, oh, well, Americans can make tough guys? No, it's not true that we have to go to Australia for our tough guys. What about, you know, and they named the tough guy, Telly Savalas, first generation Greek American. Guys from the 40s and 50s don't count. Those guys were guys who came through World War II. Lee Marvin, all these guys served. Even Jimmy Stewart served in the military. You know, Lee Marvin. These were bona fide Robert Mitchum. Tough guys who didn't give a fuck about a fuck. Ended up making movies. How many actors right now in the movies have their total life aspiration to be in movies? All those guys thought that there was something fairly ridiculous. Marlon Brando, one of the greatest screen actors ever, said a monkey could do what I do. It's a craft, you know, so what? I can tap dance. Well, they were all vaguely, you know, we are on the verge of having this convergence where Hollywood is real. We can't get, if you spend 6 months, if you give somebody like a Connor McGee 6 months of acting classes, you might actually be able to get something out of him without destroying that thing that got him to your attention to begin with. And he's not the only one. He's not the only one. There's a realness about fighters and about their characterful faces that, you know, if people think, oh, I want to be an actor. Oh, but I don't look like Alan Juban. If you're a fighter. Yeah, you know what? At some point, Danny DeVito goes, I want to be an actor. What do you think people in New Jersey said when, you know, 4'10", Danny DeVito said he wanted to be an actor? They probably said something like Eugene would say, you'll never make it. So the older guys, they had aspirations to do other things, and they ended up falling into acting. Some of the actors, Tom Cruise never wanted to do anything but acting. And no aspiration to do anything else but act. That's it. That's it. I get to be anything I want. I get to ride motorcycles. I get to rock climb. Okay, man, all right. I got to massage my friends. I got it. So if you think you have fundamentally misunderstood where you are. The days of fighting, just because a bald one is sitting in that chair doesn't mean the words coming out of the bought one's mouth are the bought one's words. You might be tempted to be drawn into a fight with him, and you might have a bad taste in your mouth from your last 4 fights with him, but the fight is not with him at this point. He's now, you know, he's locked in for about 5 years. It's probably better for him to stay for 5 years. And what's he going to do anyway? He still has WME getting him covers on Men's Health. He's got a brand, a sub-brand that he's interested in developing as well. He's going to be around. But he doesn't have any vested interest in fucking shafting you at this point. He's running next to you. He's not running in front of you anymore. So yeah, like Tom Joad, right? Yeah, whenever there's a big guy kicking around a little guy, I'll be there, presumably to help the little guy. No, to kick the little guy with the big guy. I'm helping out. You got to help out. Until they give you any proof, what is your choice? What is your choice? Well, that's the point. We need, Eddie Goldman might say to me, we need to have choices. We have to unions, power bases, Sinn Féin. Eugene, how did you go from unions to Sinn Féin? Well, because I had friends from fucking Ulster who said pretty much sotto voce, they said the only reason that Sinn Féin exists, the only reason that their troubles lasted so long is because stupid Americans romanticize their struggles, and in America could somehow get money from these romantic elements to ship guns and munitions to the 6 counties, whatever the counties up in the north of Ireland, and keep that shit going. He goes, but that is bullshit. It was about men saying, I'm 25 years old. I got no fucking prospects. What am I going to do? Yeah. Okay. Somebody says, funny how Aldo flew to Vegas to retire and Dana give Dana peace of mind. Then he said he wasn't retiring. Yeah. You know, then he said he wasn't retiring, and I can't read the rest right now. Yeah, exactly. People are having sense talked into them. I mentioned that at the beginning, you know. People are having sense talked into them. I'm going to read your text, your tweet right now. What did you say? You said, yeah, funny how Aldo flew to Vegas to retire and give Dana a piece of his mind, then said he wasn't retiring and all is cool now. Yeah, because he was like, look, man, we are here to grab a multi-billion-dollar chunk of the world by the ears, you know, whether it's movies, whether it's product endorsements, whether it's, yeah, okay, so you can't wear anything but you can't wear a Reebok shirt. It doesn't mean you can't be doing commercials for Alka-Seltzer, for Wheaties, for oatmeal, for Armorall, doesn't mean you can't commentate stuff. It doesn't mean that you can't create new properties that nobody's even ever seen. Whoever thought Celebrity Apprentice or the Real Housewives are half the shit that Sirens Entertainment Media put out? Whoever thought that stuff would ever exist? But you got this wellspring of faces, and people say, well, what about this guy, the fighter who they did the autopsy on? Yeah, exactly. You think you're going to hear much more about that story? You're probably not. You know, you're probably not. They already have 5 unanswered blows to the head and they stopped the fight. You know, the reality of it is, like Sorrell said, MMA is stupid. Just like football is stupid. But they're not banning football anytime soon. Even though it's destroying generations of young men, it's also helping generations of young men's families at the very least, or somebody. It's an ill wind that doesn't blow somebody some good. So yes, no surprise at all. You take enough shots to the head. I've talked to fighters, talked to one this morning, asked him what he thought about that. He was like, I don't remember stuff like I used to. I talked to a guy who snowboarded. He's like, I don't remember stuff like I used to. I fell and hit my head. When I first started snowboarding, we didn't use helmets. Only guys I know out there who are not complaining were surfers. And even those guys get jammed in the face with surfboards. I'm not trying to give some sort of equivalency saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying that the reasons WME now owns the UFC is about a much more gigantic portion of the pie than you've ever imagined, both inside the fence and outside the fence. Development of the sport, inside the sport, and development. A union has a very myopic vision of what it is that they're trying to develop. A corporation like WME is trying to, and it's worldwide. I mean, I cannot stress with you. I'm still getting paid. Yes, it was 20 cents. I'm still getting paid for a job I did in 1987 on the worst movie of 1987. The worst. I'm telling you. God as my witness, I'm telling you. If you are a fighter listening to this show, you need to be thinking about really special tactical ways to stay involved. Just because it's the bald one sitting there doesn't mean, because right now they're reimagining, they're reinstituting, they're reframing everything. You know, McGee stumbled into their laps. Ronda stumbled into their laps. Anderson Silva stumbled into their laps. Like I said, I've been saying for years now, what they really need is what in other industries is called artist development. What they needed is artist development. What they have never had, artist development. Or in this instance, what I mean specifically is fighter development. You know? I mean, people who they squandered. Real natural talents who could have been cross-collateralized in front of a camera for lots of different things. I did an article on Johnny Boney Joni for Men's Vogue. I think, okay, Zuffa with their idea of trying to upsell like Time just did with AT&T, they've been thinking about smoothing things over for either possible investors in another rounds of financing, because you always want people to buy in, or eventual purchasers. They don't want to have an organization that seems to get, WME doesn't give a fuck about that. Except the optics on it are bad, but they fundamentally don't care. Why don't they care? They run William Morris. How many actors are fucking up weekly? Who are having to have shit smoothed over by their agents? From being rude to somebody, to crashing their cars, to having sex with somebody's wife. This is nothing. This is nothing. They gave them an opportunity. It's not ground floor for the rest of us, since we've been involved since the 90s, but they fundamentally gave a major media conglomerate a ground floor entry on a nascent organization that's chock full of fucking talent. Like Peter Weller said in Peter Weller's RoboCop, hey, they'll fix it. They can fix anything. So things are suddenly Malky is saying positive things. Things are suddenly looking up for Johnny Boney Joni. I got another text I'll read you right before I get off here. And this comes from my spy in New Mexico. It says, everyone is believing Johnny Boney Joni took tainted subs again. As per his used car salesman manager, Malky. I guess they found the supposed tainted supplement. He's indicating by using quotes around found that he doesn't believe that it was found at all, but okay. Malky claims he'll get Jones off the hook for now. He goes, what are tainted supplements? Do they even exist? In this Johnny Boney Joni situation, apparently they do. They can fix anything. But they won't do it forever. So that's a talk that they had with Johnny Boney Joni, Jose Aldo. They you know what they said to him? He said, listen, you own the Southern Hemisphere. You own everything south of Texas. You own Central America, South America. You own, I mean, this is you. We got you all over this. Look at the next 3 fights that we have for you And look how much money you could make. Not only that, we could get you on Univision. Univision is interested in sponsoring. I mean, are you crazy? Yes, you've been underpaid before, but that stops here. What if a guy fights 3 times a year? It's nothing for them. It's nothing for them to pay this guy $600,000 a year. And any fighter who fights 3 times a year would be glad to get it. I mean, not a Jose Aldo, but you know what I mean. So I know it sounds bad coming from a guy who said the Beastie Boys would never make it and the internet was a flash in the pan. I know it sounds bad coming from me, but I'm going to have to say that all of these moves are genius moves and that you're just going to have to, I know. It's like having a bad boyfriend and he comes back and he goes, I've changed. This is not the same boyfriend. It's like that game Mystery Date that I used to love, the commercial of back in the 60s. Mystery Date, are you ready for your mystery date? And the girls are sitting around, they would open, will he be a dreamboat? And it was like some really preppy guy, and all the girls would go, and I hated that guy. I didn't like that guy. And then they go, or would it be a dud? And he looked like a surfer dude, like dirty clothes. He's like, yeah, that's the guy who I like. That's the guy who I wanted to be. It's your mystery date. You got to understand, when these doors open, I'm anticipating you're going to see Connor McGee in there. There's going to be a big pool and a hot tub, people jumping off the diving board, smoking cigars with $100 bills in the front seat of their Rolls Royces. That's the door that I'm thinking is that's going to be your dream date. GSP wants to be a free agent. Turned down for what? So, and more importantly, I'm going to finish off on this note. It's going to change MMA media. Didn't have a fight last week. Didn't have a fight this week. We will do If I Did It because PR kerfuffle is always there. But this is my chance because this gives me commentary to shine. And when other guys got nothing else to talk about except Bellator 162, I got high-level, tri-level chess shit to talk about. This is my road to MMA Commentator or Journalist of the Year, Fighters Awards. Get me in there. Nominate me. Save my life. Anyway, this is round number 292. I am your host, Eugene S. Robinson. The S stands for gold. The S is silent, okay? Come on. So we'll see you later on this week with If I Did It. I don't know, Kid Nate, if he's back in the fold. I don't know where he is. I don't know what's going on with him. But if there's a care, don't care. Only if there's a fight next week. If you want to go at Eugene S. Robinson, send me something unless you're a fitness supplement hawker, in which case I'm not helping you out. I'll let you in, but I'm not gonna give you a call because I don't give a shit about your supplements. So we'll see you later on this week. Go to Ozzy.com today, right now, and read my piece on Pretty Amberg. We live or die on the basis of our hits. You're helping because you're helping old altar boy father. That's from The Exorcist. So and it's called A Pretty Perfect Name for a Killer. That's my piece. Go, if you watch this long, you should go right away. Share it with somebody so my click goes up. Anyway, that's the end of the show. 292. I got to go do some tango. We'll see you soon. Look what you made me do!